Senator Santorum, today you said Governor Romney is guilty of distorting your record, as well as of, quote, lies and hypocrisy. You said this behavior is classic Romney, and no one's holding him accountable. So the same question that Kelly asked, this time to you. Should these barbed personal attacks against fellow Republicans be abandoned by the candidates?
Look, I've run a very strong and positive campaign. My ads have been positive. The only ad that I've ever put up that is contrast myself with the other candidates and does so in a way talking about issues. Governor Romney's SuperPAC has put an ad out there suggesting that I voted to allow felons to be able to vote from prison because they said I'm allowing felons to vote, and they put a person in a prison jumpsuit. I would ask Governor Romney, do you believe people who are felons, who served their time, who've exhausted their parole and probation, should they be given the right to vote?
Governor Romney?
First of all, as you know, the PACs that run ads on various candidates, as we unfortunately know in this country.
I'm looking for an answer to the question first.
We have plenty of time. I'll get there. I'll do it in the order I want to do. I believe that, as you realize, that the super PACs run ads, and if they ever run an ad or say something that's not accurate, I hope they either take off the ad or make it or make it correct. I guess that you said that they said that you voted to make felons vote. Is that it?
That's correct. That's what the ad says.
And you're saying that you did.
Well, first I'm asking you to answer the question because that's how you got the time. It's actually my time. So if you can answer the question, do you believe that felons who have served their time, gone through probation and parole, exhausted their entire sentence, should they be given the right to have a vote? Now, this is Martin Luther King Day. This is a huge deal in the African-American community because we have very high rates of incarceration, disproportionately high rates, particularly with drug crimes, in the African-American community. The bill I voted on was the Martin Luther King Voting Rights Bill. And this was a provision that said particularly targeted Africans-Americans, and I voted to allow them to have their voting rights back once they completed their sentence.
Governor Romney, 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, I don't think people who've committed violent crimes should be allowed to vote again. That's my own view.
It's very last thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting you should say that, Governor Romney, because in the state of Massachusetts, when you were governor, the law was that not only could violent felons vote after they exhausted their sentences, but they could vote while they were on probation and parole, which was a more liberal position than I took when I voted for the bill in the Congress. So, if in fact, let me finish. If in fact you felt so passionately about this that you are now going to go out and have somebody criticize me for restoring voting rights to people who have exhausted their sentence and served their time and paid their debt to society, then why didn't you try to change that when you were governor of Massachusetts?
Well, first of all, as governor of Massachusetts, I had an 85% Democratic legislature. This is something we discussed. My view was people who'd committed violent crimes should not be able to vote, even upon coming out of office. Secondly, I did not have a super PAC run an ad against you. That's, as you know, that's something which is completely out of the control of candidates. One of the things I decry in the current financial system that gets behind campaigns is that we have these voting requirements that put these super PACs in power that say things we disagree with. And I'll tell you, there have been some attacks on me. I mean, that have just been outrageous and completely inaccurate, and have been shown to be inaccurate. That's the nature of the process. I hope it ends. I hope it ends.
We have a long debate.
I need to respond to this. What the governor said is he didn't propose anything to change that law, and what he's saying is that the ad that says that I said that, or I voted to allow felons to vote, is inaccurate, and it is inaccurate. And if I had something in the super PAC that was supporting me that was inaccurate, I would go out and say, stop it. That you're representing me and you're representing my campaign. Stop it.
Governor Perry, go ahead.
Here's the issue, and this is a great example of the insiders that are having the conversation up here. And the fact of the matter is this: Washington, D.C. needs to leave the states alone and let the states decide these issues, and don't do it from Washington, D.C. That's what needs to happen.
Governor Romney, response to either one of those?
I agree with Governor Perry. This should be decided at the state level. I also agree with Congressman Paul that that a number of the positions that were described that Senator Santorum took were positions that were very different than the conservative views that he would suggest today. I think the decision on voting against a right to work was a bad decision, and was made, as he indicated, based upon the reflection of the people of the state he was representing. It's politics, if you will. In my state, I had a state that said that they did not favor my position of not letting felons who had committed violent crimes vote. I think it's a position that's reasonable, and that's the position I've got. Actually, what both these gentlemen said is pretty much spot on. And I'll add a couple of things. One, I want to underscore something both of them said, and that is right now in America, if you have insurance, you most likely got it through your employer. And the reason is your employer gets a deduction for you when they buy the insurance for you. That means that if you change jobs, you got to get a new insurance company, most likely. And if you become unemployed, you lose your insurance. That doesn't make sense. And if an individual wants to own their own insurance, they're not part of a big group. And so as a result, they get a very high rate. What we should do is allow individuals to own their own insurance and have the same tax treatment as companies get. You do that, and people like this young woman would be able to own her insurance. The rates would be substantially lower for her buying it individually than if she had to buy it individually today. Secondly, getting people to work. This president has failed the American people. He got up there and gave a speech last night. It was like Groundhog Day all over again. He said the same things and the same results we're seeing today. People are not working. And we know what it takes to put people back to work. He said some of those things last night, lowering corporate taxes, lowering regulations, opening up all of the above in energy, cracking down on China. He just doesn't do any of those things, and if I'm president, I will do those things, and I'll get you back to work. Thank you.
All three of these folks sound great, and I agree with them. I would just add that health savings accounts, which I introduced 20 years ago with John Kasich, is really the fundamental reform of getting consumers back involved in the healthcare system. The problem with the answers from Congressman Gingrich and Governor Romney is that, well, they didn't always say what they're saying. Governor Romney was the author of Romney Care, which is a top-down government-run healthcare system, which, read an article today, has 15 different items directly in common with Obamacare. Everything from the increase in the Medicaid program, not just the government is going to mandate you buy something as a condition of breathing, mandate that you buy an insurance policy, something that Governor Romney agreed to at the state level, something Congressman Gingrich for 20 years advocated that the federal government can force each and every person to enter into a private contract, something that everyone now, at least up on this stage, says is radically unconstitutional. Congressman Gingrich supported for 20 years. Governor Romney supported in the state, a state that is pretty much a model for what Obamacare is going to look like. Highest health care costs in the country, 27% above the average. Average waiting time, 94% of the people in Massachusetts are now insured, but there was just a survey that came out and said 1 in 4 don't get the care they need because of the high cost. So you have a card, you're covered, but you can't get care. This is the top-down model that both of these gentlemen say they're now against, but they've been for, and it does not provide the contrast we need with Barack Obama if we're going to take on that most important issue. We cannot give the issue of health care away in this election. It is too foundational for us to win this election.
Quick rebuttal from Speaker Gingrich and then Governor Romney.
Well, in my case, I think Rick is lumping us together rather more than is accurate. If you go to healthtransformation.net, I founded the Center for Health Transformation. I wrote a book in 2002 called Saving Lives and Saving Money. It calls for you and your doctor and your pharmacist and your hospital to have a relationship. I believe in something like patient power. I didn't advocate federal mandates. I talked about at a state level, finding a way which included an escape clause that people didn't have to buy it. Finding a way to try to have people have insurance, particularly for wealthy people who are simply free riding on local hospitals. But the fact is, it was a personal system dramatically different than either Romney Care or the version Rick just described.
Governor Romney.
The system that we put in place in our state was something we worked out with the labor community, the healthcare community, business, and the citizens of the nation. We came together. It was voted by a 200-person legislature. Only 2 voted no. Our system has a lot of flaws, a lot of things I do differently. Has a lot of benefits. The people of the state like it by about 3 to 1. We consider it very different than Obamacare. If I were president, day 1, I will take action to repeal Obamacare. It's bad medicine. It's bad economy. I'll repeal it. And I believe the people of each state should be able to craft programs that they feel are best for their people. I think ours is working pretty well. If I were governor, it would work a heck of a lot better.
All right, and very quickly, go ahead.
What Governor Romney just said is that government-run, top-down medicine is working pretty well in Massachusetts, and he supports it. Now think about what that means going up against Barack Obama, who you're going to claim, well, top-down government-run medicine at the federal level doesn't work and we should repeal it, and he's going to say, wait a minute, Governor. You just said that top-down government-run medicine in Massachusetts works well. Folks, we can't give this issue away in this election. It is about fundamental freedom, whether the United States government or even a state government. You have Amendment 1 here, offered by Scott Pliken, who, by the way, endorsed me today, and it's going to be on your ballot as to whether there should be a government mandate here in Florida. According to Governor Romney, that's okay. The state does it, that's okay. If the state wants to enforce it, that's okay. Those are not the clear contrasts we need if we're going to defeat Barack Obama and $1 billion.
Let's go to Miami.
I got it.
Very quickly.
Rick, I make enough mistakes in what I say, not for you to add more mistakes to what I say. I didn't say I'm in favor of top-down government-run health care. 92% of the people in my state had insurance before our plan went in place, and nothing changes for them. They own the same private insurance they had before. And for the 8% of people who didn't have insurance, we said to them, if you can afford insurance, buy it yourself. Any one of the plans out there. You can choose any private plan. There's no government plan. And if you don't want to buy insurance, then you have to help pay for the cost of the state picking up your bill, because under federal law, if someone doesn't have insurance, then we have to care for them in the hospitals, give them free care. So we said no more. No more free riders. We're insisting on personal responsibility. Either get the insurance or help pay for your care. And that was the conclusion that we reached.
Does everybody in Massachusetts have a requirement to buy health care?
Everyone has a requirement to either buy health care or pay the state for the cost of providing them free care. Because the idea of people getting something for free when they could afford to care for themselves is something that we decided in our state was not a good idea.
So in Massachusetts, just to understand that, in Massachusetts, everybody is mandated as a condition of breathing in Massachusetts to be able to buy health insurance. And if you don't, you have to pay a fine. What's happened in Massachusetts is people are now paying the fine because health insurance is so expensive, and you have a pre-existing condition clause in yours, just like Barack Obama. So what's happening in Massachusetts, the people that Governor Romney has said he wanted to go after, the people that were free ridership has gone up 5-fold in Massachusetts. 5 times the rate it was before. Why? Because I'll be happy to give you the study. 5 times the rate it's gone up. Why? Because people are ready to pay a cheaper fine and then be able to sign up to insurance, which are now guaranteed under Romney Care, then pay high-cost insurance, which is what's happened as a result of Romney Care.
First of all, it's not worth getting angry about. Secondly, secondly, 98% of the people have insurance. And so the idea that more people are free riding the system is simply impossible. Half of those people got insurance on their own. Others got help in buying the insurance. Look, I know you don't like the plan that we had. I don't like the Obama plan. His plan cuts Medicare by $500 billion. We didn't, of course, touch anything like that. He raises taxes by $500 billion. We didn't do that. He wasn't interested in the 8% of the people that were uninsured. He was concerned about the 100% of the people of the country. Obamacare takes over health care for the American people. If I'm president of the United States, I will stop it. And in debating Barack Obama, I will be able to show that I have passion and concern for the people in this country that need health care, like this young woman who asked the question. But I will be able to point out that what he did was wrong. It was bad medicine. It's bad for the economy, and I will repeal it.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Wolf, what Governor Romney said is just factually incorrect. Your mandate is no different than Barack Obama's mandate. It is the same mandate. He takes over, you take over 100%, just like he takes over 100%, requires the mandate. The same fines that you put in place in Massachusetts are fines that he puts in place in the federal level.